Have you ever shot a large group of images and wanted to sync the edits from one image across the entire group? ON1 allows you to do that really fast and really easy. Let's dive into the computer and see how that works. Here we are inside of ON1 Photo RAW 2021. I was having some technical issues with 2022, but this will work the same in all versions of Photo RAW that I am familiar with. What we're going to do is select the image that has the edits. Now, as you can see, I have some edits on this image already. I'll just go ahead and make that a little bit larger. You can see I have the image of my daughter here on a swing, and then I put a blur. This is a radial blur, and I even have a local adjustment just to darken everything and kind of make her stand out. This was just a fun edit that I did on the image. We're going to go back to browse because I think this is where it's easier to see the synchronization. We'll go ahead and get us some more real estate here as well. So what I'm going to do here is make sure that I have the image with all the edits that I want to synchronize selected. The way that you know that you have the most selected image is with this blue outline around the image. Now, I'm going to hold down Shift and click to the end of this row. This is going to allow me to select everything else. Now, ON1 Photo RAW 2021 is really nice because it shows you a color difference of what's selected. So the most selected image is blue, and all of the subordinate images or subordinate selections are in this white outline. I think that's super handy. Now, in order for me to synchronize these edits, I'm going to come down to the bottom right-hand corner and click on the button that says Sync. This gives me a dialog box in the center of the screen. Really quickly, everything that you see here is some form of a tab or module inside of the edit window, like crop and level, retouching, text, develop, portrait AI, effects. I think you get the point. Anything that doesn't have the bubble checked in means that it is not going to synchronize that across the group of images that are selected. Anything that does, it is going to synchronize. As you can see on the image that has the edits over here, I have some edits in develop, I have some edits in portrait AI, effects, and local adjustments. Now, most of the time, you may not want to synchronize the effects and local adjustments because of the masking issue. So where I think a lot of us are going to want to synchronize is right here on the develop. Now, if I were to click this little chevron, it gives me some options here. I get to choose even more inside of the develop tab what I want ON1 to synchronize. As you can see, I get to choose between the details, and this is where sharpening is. Now, if you are in ON1 Photo RAW 2022, you'll see no noise AI and sharpening as an option here. And then you have lens correction and transform. Those are self-explanatory. Now, if you made some adjustments to the tone and color, by clicking this little chevron here, or downward arrow, you get a few more options that you can even dig even deeper into. First, you get to choose the camera profile. You also get to select what inside of the tone, which is the top portion of the develop module, which are exposure, contrast, highlights. You see the granularity that you get with this. I won't go too deep into that. But this is definitely something that you would want to spend some time making sure that you're synchronizing the right portions of your image. Now, most of the time, you're just going to leave develop checked all by itself. What I will say though is, let's say we don't want the highlights and shadows inside of purity to transition over. Watch what happens when I click this. I get this little half circle up here under develop. This is letting me know that not everything in the develop sync setting is actually going to merge onto these images, and we know what's not going to merge based off of these bubbles that aren't highlighted. I'm going to go ahead and click apply and watch what happens. Now ON1 has synchronized all of my develop settings across the images that I had selected, but notice that the effects did not transition over. I'm going to show you how to get your effects to transition over and also talk about some things you may want to be aware of. By hitting Command D to deselect everything and then I'm going to reselect the image that has all of my edits on it. I'm going to hold down the Command key and click on each one of the files that I want to work on my synchronization again. I'm going to go back down to the bottom right hand corner and click Sync. This gives me the dialog box again, and as you can see, all of these options are highlighted once again because it's telling me that this photo up here has some form of edits made inside of these modules. So if I want to synchronize my effects, I'm going to go ahead and hit the drop down here just so you can see that the option is Apply Mask. Now, if I synchronize this without the mask, my effect is going to go over the entire image, and I don't want that. So what I'm going to do is check the block that says Apply Mask. That's going to give me the radial filter across the image, so that way the mask is intact whenever I synchronize these edits. The next area I think we should look at is the local adjustments. I also have a mask applied there because I wanted to lower the exposure in the background, kind of like a vignette, and I just applied the exact same mask from my blur effect to the local adjustments. So let's go ahead and take a look there. When I click here, you see that I also have Apply Mask. So I want to make sure that I check this bubble. And then we'll go ahead and lower that. The next area that we'll check is Portrait AI. So when I click the drop down, again, you see that I have Apply Mask. Now, what's going to happen when I apply the mask for Portrait AI is it's going to try to find the face, and hopefully it will find the face. But what I've found in my testing is you always want to check that, especially if you made drastic changes to the face, and make sure that that mask is intact the way that you want, mostly when the face moves from side to side or into a different lighting condition. Going to click right here on the bubble to apply, and then I'm going to click Apply down at the bottom. So as ON1 continues to render these previews, you can see that the mask is no longer around my daughter, and that's because she moved in the frame. The mask is still fixed to the same location, but because my daughter moved to a different frame or to a different position inside of the frame, the mask is no longer centered around her. This is an easy fix when you go into the effects module, but something to consider whenever you're making a decision on using the effects mask when you're synchronizing over multiple images. I only recommend that you synchronize the mask with your image when your subject is in a static location or isn't moving across the frame. If your subject is moving, you're better off just applying the effect and then painting in the mask later. But that's also a very subjective statement, so you choose what is the best for your workflow and editing style. So I'm going to show you how to reposition that mask and how much work it would be. But keep in mind, if you have multiple effects and multiple masks, it might be a little challenging to reposition your mask if you didn't use the masking bug and instead you used a brush. What I'm going to do is click on Effects, click on Blur, hit the letter M to get my masking bug. I'm just going to reposition this right over my daughter, and I need to rotate it, and it looks like it's now too large, so I need to make it a little bit smaller. And that's another thing to consider. As your subject moves around in the frame, and you're standing in one place, they'll get smaller and larger. The further away they are from you, the smaller they're going to be in the frame. And the closer they come to you, the larger they're going to be in the frame. So your mask is going to need to be adjustable for that. My recommendation is if you plan to sync a mask over your images, use the masking bug so that way it's easy to maneuver like I'm doing here. So now we'll hop over to the local adjustments tab, and I'll hit the letter M, get the masking bug, or better yet, I'm just going to come back over here. I'll copy that mask and I'll just paste it onto here. So that way I don't have to try and figure out if I matched it up perfectly. It's just going to match up perfectly because it's a copy and paste. And there you have a fully synchronized image with the mask and the blur. So synchronizing photos is just that simple inside of ON1. A little time consuming though, I will add. Now, if you're interested in how I got this blur effect, check the video out on the screen. And until next time, I want you guys to stay inspired and keep creating. Peace.